Now, I want to talk about another issue that's related to that. And it's another issue that your governor mentioned just a few minutes ago. I'm actually very proud of the fact that among all the candidates, Democrats and Republicans, I am today the only candidate with a very specific, truly universal health care plan. And I'm proud of it. I think we need universal health care in America. You know, you all know the numbers, 46, 47 million people without health care, insurance premiums up 90% over the last 6 years. We have a dysfunctional health care system in America. And when our unions, our great unions in America, are out there negotiating their contracts, health care should not be what they're negotiating about. They ought to be negotiating about better wages, pensions. So here's what I'm proposing. That every employer in America be required to cover their employees or to pay into a fund to provide coverage. That we set up markets all over this country and give people the choice between a private insurer or the government. Medicare Plus. There are a lot of people in America who believe that we ought to have a single payer system. I think that we ought to give Americans that choice, not politicians. So we're going to let you choose. You can choose the government or you can choose a private insurer. We fill all the cracks in the healthcare system. Complete mental health parity, mental health treated just exactly the same way as physical health. Preventative care, chronic care, long-term care, dental care, vision care, all covered. We subsidize health insurance premiums up to just under $100,000 of income. So we help pay for the cost of health care. We bring down the cost of health care for everybody by requiring use of technology, requiring electronic record keeping, requiring lower administrative costs. We're spending 30 to 40 cents on every health care dollar for administrative costs, not for health care. We spend more money on health care than any country in the industrialized world. We get one of the worst products out the other end. This has to change. It has to change. And we deal with the issue of job lock, people being locked into their jobs because they're worried about their health care, by being able to take your health care with you, if you like it, from one job to the next job to the next job. And we require every single man, woman, and child by law to be covered. So this is a truly universal health care plan from birth to death for every American. Now, there may be, as the presidential candidates come rolling through Michigan, there might be somebody, because I've seen it in politicians before, who come through and say, well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to have universal health care. And we're going to change the way we use energy. We're going to revitalize the auto industry in America. And we're going to grow the middle class. And we're going to eliminate the federal deficit. These things cost money. And we have to be honest about that. I talked about honesty at the beginning. We have to be honest about this. My health care plan costs between $90 and $120 billion a year. The way I pay for it is by rolling back Bush's tax cuts for people who make over $200,000. I also want to speak about an issue that's just near and dear to my heart, and I won't talk about it too long, because I know some people are not as focused on this as I am. But I have been running a poverty center at the University of North Carolina. I've been all over the country doing work on this issue. It's something I care about. I think it says something about the character of America. What we do about 37 million of our own people who wake up every day worried about feeding and clothing their children. I think we're better than that. And I think we can give people a chance and an opportunity to have a better life for themselves. Some of the things we can do, I've already talked about it. One of the best tools in fighting poverty is a good job with decent wages. And by the way, while I'm on this subject, the greatest anti-poverty movement in American history is the organized labor movement. What everyone seems to forget when we talk about our manufacturing jobs is many of these jobs weren't great jobs before the union, were they? It was the union that made them great jobs. It's the union that created good pay and good benefits that helped grow and strengthen the middle class, that helped make America the country of the 20th century. So if that's true, what are we going to do to make it easier, not harder, to organize workers in the workplace? We need comprehensive labor law reform in this country. We ought to make it so, listen, If somebody can join the Republican or Democratic Party by signing their name to a card, any worker in America ought to be able to join a union by doing the same thing. That's democracy in the workplace. And before you sit down, we also ought to ban the hiring of permanent replacements for strikers, so we have some power in this party. Now you can say that. I was trying to save you some trouble. I have to tell you, I'm very proud of the fact that over the last few years, since the last election, I've been all over America helping organize workers into unions. I've walked picket lines all over America. I've talked to employers, over 100 different events. I'm proud of having done that, but I do it for a very simple reason, because I think it is absolutely crucial to maintain and strengthen and grow the middle class in this country, that we strengthen the right to organize, that we strengthen the power of unions, to have at least a level playing field in the negotiating process. I think this is important for America's economic security. I absolutely believe that. And I think it's important, by the way, I think it's important to have a President of the United States who will use their bully pulpit to explain to America what the union movement has meant in the history of this country, and to explain to America how important it is going forward in growing the middle class that's so crucial in this country. But there are many other things that we ought to be doing. Some of them we've done right here in Michigan. I helped. I was piggybacking with a lot of other people that were working hard. But things like having a decent living wage. I talked about strengthening the right to organize, helping families be able to save, access to college. You know, Bush is taking billions of dollars out of the federal budget for kids to be able to go to college. This is insanity. I mean, complete insanity. We have to be the most creative, smartest, best educated workforce on the planet. The way to do that is we want our kids to go to college, to have every opportunity to go. I have this idea I call college for everyone, and what we've done, I don't know why I brought this thing up. What we've done is we've said to kids in a poor section of eastern North Carolina, if you graduate from high school, qualified to go to college, and you commit to work when you're there, at least 10 hours a week, we pay for your tuition and books. Very simple. And I raise the money for this privately, but it's something we can do across America. The reason I love the idea, besides the fact that it's mine, is because we don't just give it to them. We make them work for it. It won't hurt them to work. I bet a lot of people in this room are like me. I worked when I was in school, and a lot of you did too. That's a good thing. Work ethic is good. And on top of that, they graduate from college and they don't have all this burden of debt that so many of our kids are faced with today. Yeah. But these are the kind of things we can do to fight poverty. It's about knocking down barriers. It's about creating opportunity. It's about access, not having single mothers who wake up in the middle of the night with a sick child and having to go to the emergency room and beg for health care. You are more likely in America today to go into bankruptcy than you are to get a divorce. Half our bankruptcies are caused by medical costs, which is one of the reasons we need universal health care in this country. And you want to talk about the growing income gap in America? When they talk in Washington about how great our economy is doing, not these two senators and not these congressmen, but the Bush administration. Listen, last year, this is a startling statistic. Last year, the top 300,000 earners in America earned more than the bottom 150 million. The top 300,000 versus the bottom 150 million. We can't sustain this. It's unhealthy. It's not good for our democracy. We got to lift people out of poverty. We got to give people opportunity. We got to strengthen and grow the middle class in this country. We got to create jobs that will sustain the middle class in America. We know what needs to be done. We do.